It's midterm election year in America. There's a razor-thin margin between the left and right. And Republicans are gunning for a House and Senate takeover.
I think there's no question that there's still an intensity there. It'll get built back up as we get closer to November in the midterms.
The majority of Republicans still believe the election was stolen.
Who won in 2020?
Trump.
Still?
Yeah, I mean, he did. They stole the election.
So is there really a Republican Party left?
If they had the chance to turn away Trump and turn away this proud MAGA movement, they would. Because they realize that MAGA is so much stronger than the Republican Party ever has been.
Is the MAGA movement making a comeback like never before?
I believe it's up to America and the American people to do better, elect someone strong.
And the question on everyone's minds, will the MAGA leader himself run again?
We must win in 2022. We must win in 2024.
After the attack on the Capitol on January the 6th last year, it felt like Donald Trump's Make America Great Again movement might be winding down. Maybe they were giving up, now there was a new president in office and the election was firmly over, like it or not. The MAGA team had a good run, but it seemed over, or so we thought. For anyone who thought that Trump's popularity was waning, take a trip here. This is Florida, it's 2022, and MAGA seems anything but dead. In fact, it feels very much alive. Over the last 4 years, the state has become the unofficial headquarters for the MAGA movement. It's where Trump has set up home, and in recent years it's gone from purple to very firmly red, with leading lawmakers who are front and center of the more conservative arm of the Republican Party. And it's the obvious location for the biggest annual event on the Republican calendar, the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's my first time at a conservative event of this size in America. It's political, yes, but there is more to it than politics.
Can't wait till we all vote again, let's all vote again. Those mail-in ballots should have never been, and all the dead votes coming in at 3 a.m. I can't wait till we all vote again. There is a unique blend of desperation and optimism here. And I think that's a good thing, because the people are waking up of all persuasions.
What do you think about former President Donald Trump?
I think he's the former president, and I believe he's going to be the next one.
The pandemic played a part in establishing Florida as the crux of the MAGA movement. The state railed against strict mask laws and mandates. Jason Delgado is a journalist working in the thick of Florida politics.
It's a free state of Florida, and they've really leaned into that sort of terminology, that this is a beacon of freedom in a country where, you know, certain states are locked down. There's always an old guard in any party, and the MAGA movement is real, and it's taken center stage. You've seen old guard candidates who, you know, now they're shifting their style and their rhetoric to match that of President Trump and even DeSantis.
It's this idea that Donald Trump's popularity has transcended politics and become a movement that is intriguing to me. It feels almost like a religion among some people here, and no better way to learn more than talk to someone who has been closer to Trump than most others.
Let's talk about your time in the White House with former President Donald Trump.
Yep.
What was it like? Did you like it?
Some days were good and some days weren't. I mean, there were some days that were better than others, there's no question about it.
Sean Spicer served as White House press secretary for Donald Trump. Before that, he was the communications director of the Republican National Committee. He has always been seen as a key ally to Trump and routinely mocked for it.
Settle down! Because I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to swallow gum, and I'm here to take names.
But the role under Trump has catapulted Spicer into the limelight, from celebrity appearances to his own show on right-leaning US network Newsmax.
What were the good days like? What were the bad days like with him?
Well, I mean, the good days were recognizing the honor and privilege it is to be this working class kid from a small state in Rhode Island with no political connections, opening the back door to your office and realizing you're 25 feet from the Oval Office. And that I will be forever grateful for. Then there were days in which too often on a very large stage there was things that went wrong, and it was my name, my face that were attached to them, and it's a very personal thing to go through. Sometimes they were self-inflicted and sometimes they weren't.
It's been exactly 1 year since the Biden administration has been in office. Do you think the MAGA movement has been dying down?
There's always a bit of waning of a movement the further it goes. But I think there's no question that there's still an intensity there. Look, you've got two forces. One, you're not getting pulled by an imminent election, right? So it'll get built back up as we get closer to November in the midterms. And number two is that you're a little bit further from the last election.
What do you think about 2024? Do you think Trump is running?
I currently do think he's running, but it's Donald Trump. He could change his mind tomorrow and then change it back the day after that. But every indication that I have and everything that I see in him is that he wants to run again.
Do you have contact with the former president on a regular basis?
Yeah, fairly regular, yeah. But they're always pleasant conversations. And I like being a supporter of his as opposed to an employee of his.
We got the Freedom Convoy shirts here.
You got Trump stuff.
Everything sells. Trump sells. He does it himself. So his brand never dies.
The Let's Go Brandon line has become conservative code for F. Joe Biden. It's a not-so-secret handshake amongst Trump supporters here that signals they're in sync with the party's base. Every poll conducted since the election shows that the majority of Republican voters still support Donald Trump, and more notably, still believe the election was stolen.
Who won in 2020?
Trump.
Still?
Yeah, he did. They stole the election. Nothing we can do about it. Buy it in there.
Trump is holding rallies attracting thousands, and at every opportunity, he is speculating about another presidential bid. As we are here, the news breaks that Russia has attacked Ukraine, and an opportunity straight away for Trump's closest allies to discredit Biden and position Trump as the answer to America and the world's problems.
It is completely Joe Biden's fault. And I am purely disgusted and embarrassed on behalf of our country that we have a president that is so incredibly weak that he allowed this to happen. When President Trump was in office, he was a strong president. He made America strong, and we had peace through strength. And that was all over the world.
Marjorie Greene, or MTG as she's known, is a US representative for Georgia. She's not on the far right, she's known for conspiracy theories, and has been widely criticized for promoting white supremacist and anti-Semitic views, and even suggesting that Democrats be executed. MTG has been a staunch supporter of Trump's efforts to overturn his 2020 election loss, and Trump has paid Greene back with frequent public endorsement.
I believe it's up to America and the American people to do better, elect someone strong, put someone in office that's going to fight for our country and create America to be strong again, and that'll protect the entire world, because I'm driving forward for America first.
Thank you.
MTG is so controversial that many members of the Republican Party have denounced her, but her views on Ukraine are shared by the majority. Polls show that more than half of Americans believe that Trump would have dealt with the Russia-Ukraine situation better than Biden, but it's the less obvious who might pose a bigger threat to the Democrats. I heard quite a bit about Chandler Crump, a 17-year-old black high schooler from Atlanta, Georgia. Crump is determined to break the mold when it comes to race and politics.
When you're looking around, the color that you see mostly is white. Do you feel a little bit out of place, or do you feel perfectly comfortable?
That is something I've noticed when I go to conferences and things like that. You're talking about that, right? And as a black person, sometimes I do feel out of place, honestly. And it's not something that can really be helped because, of course, this is a white nation. The majority of America's population for now is white. I think it's something like 60 or 70% of the population altogether in all the states and stuff is white. So that's something that I've always known, but I also grew up in a place where the black population is pretty prosperous. I grew up in metro Atlanta, so obviously Atlanta is a very black city. I believe it's actually majority black, so it's always kind of like a fish out of water moment for me. But I've also been raised to not see myself as less than anybody else, and even if I sometimes feel out of place, I do know that they love me just like I love them as fellow countrymen.
Trump is part of a target audience for Trump, who's gaining in popularity with black Americans. Despite his 2020 election defeat, Trump gained 6 percentage points more among black men than he did in 2016.
I want to really understand what kind of reactions you're getting from the black community.
Okay.
Are they criticizing you for being so active in the Republican sphere, or are they appreciating the work that you're doing?
I think it's an interesting mix. Now, one thing I've noticed with the black community is that they've been through so much that even if there's a lot going on, they still look at things through a very radically different lens than basically anybody else. And every community can be said, but I feel like some of the communities, at least in America, have become very homogenized. So the Indian community, the Hispanic community, the white community, they've all kind of become sort of like an American image. But the black community has not become the American image per se, but it's created its own African-American image. And I just call myself a black American, and I think that's what I am.
Trump is prolific on social media. He also runs his own show, often pushing a far-right, sometimes controversial agenda, and he's very clearly pro-Donald Trump.
Do you like Trump?
I like Trump.
Why?
A good amount. Because I feel like he gives it to you straight. And I remember when I was younger, at first, I thought he was crazy. I thought he was crazy basically up until he was elected. And I used to think, I was so scared.
But come on, let's be honest for a second. Do you not think that some of the things that he said over the years sounded really racist?
Really racist? Honestly, not at all. Not at all.
Trump has even turned his hand to rapping, spreading his pro-Trump message through music.
Are you a proud black Republican?
I'm a proud black conservative. Now, the Republican Party is something else, but definitely I'm a proud black
Why would you not associate yourself with the Republican Party?
Simply because I believe the Republican Party is pretty swampy. And I think that the Republican Party is weak in 2022. I don't believe that they're actually doing anything right. I don't think they're actually fighting to make this nation great. I think if they had the chance to turn away Trump and turn away this proud MAGA movement, they would. Because they realize that MAGA is so much stronger than the Republican Party ever has been.
Trump believes the MAGA movement is more than a political party. In fact, for him and millions of others, it is the new right. But there's a new guy in town, and some people here see him as a future leader. In 2024, are you for Trump or DeSantis?
DeSantis.
Why?
I'm sorry. Well, because he's the greatest governor in the country. Imagine if we can turn America into Florida. Wouldn't that be, that would be a hoot, wouldn't it? Right?
He's talking about the MAGA movement's rising star, Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis is on the stage right now. He's one of the newest and most fresh faces in the Republican Party. He's got so much popularity in Florida. You never know, you might be looking at the 2024 presidential candidate in the United States. What do you think about the Florida governor? Do you think he's set for something bigger?
I think Ron DeSantis has been extremely impressive, not just to the people of Florida, but throughout the country. He speaks his mind. He enacts policies that he believes are the right thing for the state of Florida, and they have results that benefit all Floridians. And I think that people respect him for that. I don't think we're going to see the last of Ron DeSantis in this election here in Florida.
But it's Trump who is undoubtedly still the headlining act here.
We must win in 2022. We must win in 2024. We all know what happens when you get a rigged election.
To say that the Democrats felt relief when Trump left the White House is an understatement. Many of them believe that the US has firmly seen the back of Donald Trump, but a poll conducted by US network CBS shows that 69% of Republicans want to see Trump run again. Most conservatives still believe he's the strongest candidate the Republican Party has to offer.